People are paying over $600 to camp in the middle of the desert in 100-degree heat for 12 hours straight.
What?
No water, no bathrooms, and snakes slithering under their tents. Yes, Coachella 2025, or as the internet is now calling it, Fire Festival. What was supposed to be the world's most iconic music festival has spiraled into a complete logistical nightmare. And it's gone viral on TikTok for all the wrong reasons. We're talking overheating cars, people urinating in bushes, fights breaking out in line, and a shocking lack of staff anywhere in sight. And here's the thing. It only gets worse. What you're about to see includes real footage, first-hand accounts, and details the organizers would definitely rather keep quiet. So keep on watching. Because what happens next, you won't believe it, and you do not want to miss this. Now, when I say people waited a long time to get in, I don't mean like, ugh, this line is annoying long. I mean, people sat in their cars for up to 12 straight hours, in the middle of the desert, in over 100-degree heat, with no access to bathrooms, no water, and no clear communication from staff about what was going on. One of the most viral TikToks, it's got well over 2.7 million views, came from a woman named Liz. She said her group arrived at 3 a.m. for what was supposed to be a routine entry into the campgrounds, and by 1 p.m., they still hadn't made it through security. No progress, no explanation, just a line of cars sitting there baking in the sun. And if that wasn't bad enough, listen to what happened while they were stuck in that line.
We have been stuck in line for nearly 10 hours. We showed up here for camping at 3 in the morning and got in line. It's almost 1 p.m. right now. We still haven't even gone through security. It's 100 degrees outside. People's cars are overheating. They're running out of gas. There are no bathrooms anywhere for us to use. There's staff porta potties people are being denied access to. People who've been waiting there in their car for 10 plus hours.
Cars overheated, people ran out of gas, and some were so desperate they started urinating in bushes and behind their vehicles. Because again, there were no bathrooms. Attendees were reportedly denied access to staff porta potties, even in medical emergencies. Imagine being out there, surrounded by hundreds of strangers in that kind of heat, and having nowhere to go. Liz described the experience as extremely dehumanizing. Her exact words, "People are pissed. The news is here. People are fighting, cutting in line. Someone in my group got sideswiped, and another woman literally got hit by a car trying to block someone from cutting." And look, I get that people get testy when it's hot and stressful. But when there's no structure, no staff around to help, and everyone's been trapped for nearly half a day, it becomes dangerous. What we're seeing here isn't just poor planning, it's a serious safety risk. People were literally passing out from dehydration, according to multiple first-hand TikToks, and some were even suffering panic attacks from being stuck so long in an overheated vehicle. People weren't just frustrated, they felt abandoned. They were dehydrated, scared, some even crying on camera. And when you're seeing that kind of footage blow up on social media, when people start comparing Coachella to a disaster zone before the gates even open, that's a pretty clear sign something went seriously wrong. There's a word that kept popping up across tweets, posts, and TikToks. Inhumane. Not just because of the physical toll, but because of how powerless and ignored people felt. When you're paying hundreds of dollars to attend one of the most hyped-up festivals in the world, you're not expecting to be treated like livestock in a desert traffic jam. So yeah, fights breaking out, people getting hit by cars, zero access to bathrooms, and no basic provisions like shade or water. It's not just bad optics, it's straight up dangerous. And here's the part that really hits. Many people never even made it to their spots. They were so drained from the heat and the chaos that they turned around and left before the festival even began. You know how people usually roll up early to festivals so they can claim a good camping spot, beat the heat, and settle in? Yeah, not this year. People started arriving as early as 3 or 4 a.m., expecting, based on past years, to be checked in and parked within an hour or two. That's how it's always been. 2 hours max, not ideal, but manageable. Instead, this year the gates didn't open until around 9 a.m. And the result? Absolute gridlock. Car camping turned into car trapping. For many, that early morning optimism turned into an 8 to 12-hour wait, in line, in their cars, in the desert. TikTok exploded with clips of people documenting their misery in real time. One user at Notless shared a video showing she'd been in her car for 10 hours, still nowhere near her campsite. Another TikToker filmed themselves curled up in the back seat, windows cracked, soaked in sweat, with the caption, "Still waiting, send help." And it wasn't just discomfort. This was dangerous. One attendee told Business Insider it was the worst line experience they'd ever had at a festival. Another told USA, today they felt like they were in a traffic simulation that just forgot to include an exit route. There were barely any staff visible. No one giving updates, no one directing cars, no signage, nothing. people were left to figure it out for themselves. There were reports of confused drivers going the wrong direction, creating bottlenecks, trying to U-turn mid-queue. It was complete anarchy. And remember, this is the start of the festival. People hadn't even checked in yet. They hadn't gotten their wristbands, set up camp, or seen a single stage. This was just the entrance experience. And it was already enough to make some people turn around and leave. Seriously, that's how bad it got. People paid hundreds of dollars, traveled hours to get there, and still decided it wasn't worth it. They just gave up. And for those who stuck it out, by the time they finally got to their spot, 10, 11, 12 hours later, they were physically drained, mentally fried, and already regretting the trip. All that before the music even started. So let's talk about security. Or more accurately, the complete lack of it. Because for a festival of this size, with this many people charging this much money, you'd expect at least the bare minimum of organization, right? Like people in high-vis vests pointing traffic, actual security teams checking bags, a couple of people answering questions, something. But Coachella 2025, it looked more like the world's most expensive free-for-all, especially in the early hours when people were stuck in those long, chaotic car camping lines. Multiple festival goers said there was no one directing traffic, no one communicating how long the wait would be, and, maybe the most bizarre part, barely any security presence at all. And when people did finally reach the front of the line after hours of waiting, the security check was, well, generous would be putting it nicely. TikTok user at Jenna Parafina described how her car was barely glanced at, with security giving what she called a shrug and wave inspection. One person said their trunk wasn't even opened. Another said a security worker looked through one bag and let them in without even asking who it belonged to. So much for keeping contraband out or maintaining any kind of safety standard. To be fair, a few cars did get the full inspection treatment. Dogs, mirrors, bag searches. But that seemed to be more the exception than the rule. And honestly, by the time people waited in line for over 10 hours, even the staff looked exhausted. Some appeared totally overwhelmed, with one TikToker claiming they saw workers arguing with each other because they didn't know how to handle the gridlock. And you'd think maybe this was just a fluke or a localized issue near one entry point. But no, this was happening across the entire car camping check-in system. Reports from Newsweek, Yahoo, and Business Insider confirmed that across multiple entrances, there was no coherent system in place. No clear signage, no visible leadership, just thousands of cars crawling forward on guesswork. Now, let's be clear. Organizing an event like this isn't easy. You've got tens of thousands of people arriving all at once, each with different passes, camping setups, and expectations. But this isn't Coachella's first rodeo. This festival's been running for over 2 decades, and yet, this year felt like someone hit shuffle on the logistics manual and hoped for the best. Now look, nobody expects luxury at a music festival. We all know what we're signing up for. A bit of discomfort, a few shared porta potties, maybe some questionable hand sanitizer if you're lucky. But Coachella 2025 somehow managed to fumble even the bare minimum. And it wasn't just bad, it was confusing. Here's where it gets ridiculous. People who paid extra money for upgraded powered car camping packages, the kind that specifically promised flushable toilets and enhanced facilities, got there and found nothing. Or worse, staff who had no idea where anything actually was. TikToker at Kayelalala24 posted a video saying she and her group had asked around a dozen different staff members where the flushable bathrooms were. Not one person could give them a straight answer. Some didn't even know they existed.
I'm not gonna lie, the morale is pretty low right now. I've asked like 12 different people where the flushable toilets are. No answer.
And these weren't just confused guests. This was the staff. People weren't even being dramatic about it. They had receipts, actual documentation showing they had paid for added amenities, and the festival either didn't deliver or completely failed to communicate where any of it was located. One person compared it to ordering a first-class ticket, walking onto the plane, and being told, yeah, we don't actually have first class today, but you can sit wherever. Except in this case, you're sweating in a tent in the desert and trying not to pee your pants. It wasn't just the premium options either. Even in the general camping areas, porta potties were scarce, under-maintained, and hard to find. TikTok user at WeCareLotPod described the situation as a mix of scavenger hunt and survival game, where finding a usable toilet felt like unlocking a rare achievement. There were people posting videos actually celebrating when they stumbled upon a clean one, like it was some kind of mythical prize. To make things even weirder, festival veterans started sharing bathroom hacks, like secret restroom trailers near certain stages or obscure VIP zones that you could sneak into. SFGate even ran a piece titled "The Secret Coachella Bathroom Hack That Might Just Save Your Out." When actual news outlets are publishing festival toilet cheat codes, you know something has gone terribly wrong. And remember, this is all happening before most people even get into the festival grounds. Imagine waiting in your car for 10 hours, sweating it out in 100-degree heat, and then spending another hour trying to find a bathroom that may or may not exist. It's not just uncomfortable, it's unhealthy. People were literally refusing to drink water because they didn't want to need the restroom. That's a serious dehydration risk in desert conditions, and the festival provided no on-site hydration support for campers waiting in line. Several TikTokers posted about staff-only porta potties being present, but they were guarded. Yes, guarded toilets. People were being denied from using them, even after waiting in line for hours. You've got attendees sweating, dehydrated, begging for access to a basic human need, and being told, "Sorry, can't help you." And let's not forget, this isn't some backwoods DIY fest run out of a pickup truck. This is Coachella, arguably the biggest music festival in North America, backed by corporate sponsors and global media. But they couldn't sort out bathroom logistics. Not in 2025, not with decades of experience behind them. It's not like they didn't know people were coming. People came prepared. They paid for comfort, or at least stability, and were met with zero accountability. No signs, no maps, no answers. And as more creators shared their experiences, the frustration became universal. No one knew where anything was. So, if you're wondering why there's this energy around the whole Coachella 2025 backlash, this is why. Because it's not about just one bad day. It's about being promised one thing, receiving nothing, and then watching the people who took your money pretend like everything's going according to plan. Now look, Coachella is held in the California desert. There's always been the possibility of desert wildlife, right? Dust, wind, the occasional weird bug, sure, that's kind of expected. But this year, attendees are reporting a noticeable spike in actual snake sightings, and it's all over TikTok. One video, posted by @IvanaCortez, casually pans across her camp setup before suddenly cutting to a snake coiled near someone's belongings. The caption, "In honor of Coachella season, stay safe at camp, friends." Her tone is chill, but let's be real. No one's really calm when a snake shows up where you sleep. Another TikToker @Joshua18 posted what might be the most viral snake sighting so far. His POV video starts lighthearted, but the second he zooms in and you see this thick, full-grown snake weaving through the campsite, the tone shifts fast. You can hear people laughing nervously, and someone in the background goes, "Nope, I'm done. That's it. I'm leaving." Now, to be clear, these aren't massive venomous anacondas or something, but still. These are wild snakes in the middle of a completely disorganized, understaffed campsite where people are already tired, overheated, and don't even know where the nearest bathroom is. You throw in a slithering surprise under your tent, that's enough to break even the most hardcore festival goer. There were several comments under these videos from people saying things like, "Why didn't Coachella warn us?" Or, "Where was the pest control?" And the thing is, that's not a bad question. It's one thing for wildlife to exist in the desert. It's another for them to be freely cruising through crowded campgrounds with no staff around to respond or manage the situation. It's also worth pointing out that some attendees claim the snake problem is worse this year because of where certain car camping sections were set up. Apparently, some zones were placed further out, closer to undeveloped land, where desert animals naturally roam. With little to no lighting, minimal security, and no visible perimeter barriers, campers were essentially dropped in the wild with EDM playing in the distance. And let's not pretend this is just a funny side plot. For people with phobias, or those who simply weren't expecting to battle wildlife at a music festival, this was genuinely terrifying. One camper in a Reddit thread said they slept in their car the entire weekend after a snake sighting near their site. Another posted a video walking around with a flashlight every night before bed, checking the area like it was an episode of Animal Planet. Look, no one's blaming Coachella for existing in the desert. That's part of the aesthetic. But there's a difference between desert vibes and desert survival mode, and this year the line got crossed. So if you're thinking of going next year, maybe bring your wristband and a snake hook, just in case. If you enjoyed the breakdown so far, drop a like, leave a comment about what you'd do if you found a snake in your tent, and subscribe for more unfiltered looks at what really goes down behind the scenes at the biggest events. We've got more madness from Coachella 2025 coming up. And trust me, you're going to want to see the rest.